sit on the runway as they took big roller brooms, swept it. 2 planes would take off and they'd sweep it again. And then they were de-icing the 20 that were sitting there ready to take off. And,
all right, if we can all stand, we'll do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morgan Township meeting, November 29th, 2018. And if I can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Brucker?
yes,
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
And if I can entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 23rd, 2018. We didn't approve it last meeting because there was a typographical error. That's been corrected.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I'll make a motion to approve the Morgan Township Board of Trustee minutes from November 15th, 2018 as written.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I entertain a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make a motion to approve the payments from 11/16/2018 through 11/29/2018. Payment number 835-2018 through 870-2018. Warrant number 8893 through 8914 for a total of $51,886.29.
Second.
Mr. Brucker?
Yes.
Mr. Kolb?
Yes.
Mr. Updike?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And at this time, I'll go to the audience. Before I do that, I'd like to welcome the Ross students for the government class. But I have a little question that I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to have each one of you come up, give your name, and then an answer to this question. But we'll come back to you here in a minute. So the question is, since you're in a government class, if you could change a law or make a law, what would it be and why? So we'll go on to anybody else in the audience, and then zoning, and then I'm going to come back. I'll have each one of you come up, state your name and where you live, and then kind of answer the question. And I will start with my son back there, so you guys know you're not first. So, anyone else from the audience at this time have anything? If not, we'll go to Mr. Marshall with zoning.
Okay. Number one on the agenda, on my report, the letter has been sent or will be sent to Ms. Hagan concerning the cemetery. I've also been in touch with the Southern Ohio Lutheran Synod concerning the cemetery, and I'm just following through on where they're at and what they might do with it if they do. But it's very well determined that we do not have to take over the cemetery because all evidence reports that it belongs to the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America. Second, you asked me last week, last meeting, to ask Roger Gates to query about the Okeana Watershed Project in terms of the elderly lady, forget her name. Mrs. Waddell, okay, being able to use a representative or something like that in terms of it. Mr. Gates, after speaking with him for about 5 minutes and explaining, he said, well, we can speak to her, and if she states to see Frankie, then he can speak for her at that time. But ultimately, it is she who must sign whatever we have signed, okay?
Right.
Unless she chooses to let Frankie be it exclusively and do everything for her, then she would need a power of attorney that is, as he quoted, a power of attorney that has been written, signed, notarized, and properly executed and recorded, which means it would involve a lawyer,
Yes.
okay? so that's your answer there. This week I sent first notices to 2 residents for not filing for zoning certificate. One is at 3808 Charlotte for failure to get a zoning certificate for an accessory structure that he's already built, okay? The second is at 5058 Alert New London for failure to get a certificate for an addition that he's placing on the front of his house, which looks like a garage or a carport. Just to let you know that. Number 4, we will have end-of-year work and training December the 6th for the BZA. We're going to wrap up and close out and approve the minutes from the one BZA meeting that we had that we haven't approved yet. And I also am going to be offering a little bit of training to them in terms of when things happen, because I want to keep them abreast of what's going on in the township too as well. The next zoning commission meeting is scheduled for December the 12th. That would have been changed from the 19th to the 12th due to Christmas. And next Monday, I will be out of the office December the 3rd for personal business all day. Okay. That's my report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else got anything for Dale? If not, Mr. Dalton Updike, I'll let you start the show.
Hello, well, my name's Dalton Updike. I live down off of Jenkins Road. And if I could change one law, it would be the concealed carry age. I'd change it from 21 to 18 because good Samaritans with guns stop bad Samaritans with guns. So that's all I got to say.
Okay. And if you guys just want to, one at a time, come up, state your name, where you live, and
I'm Samantha Licata. I live over off of Black Road and Ross Trails, and I guess I would have passed the issue 4 because I think it would have benefited the school a lot.
okay. You're up. Mr. Mills.
Hi, my name is Ethan Mills. I live down here in Okeana, Cincinnati, Brookville. I'm in Indiana, and I'm going to hit on Dalton's, the concealed carry, because everyone needs a gun to stop bad people, so I feel that.
Big Second Amendment crowd tonight.
All right, we'll start in the second row. Or third row. Third row, sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to think still. Trying to think? You want to go? Not yet.
Joe, you want to go?
My name is Jake Neves, and I live on Brown Farm down in Ross Trails. And one law I would change would be the curfew for minors, because I feel like during the week people are out a lot later than 10 o'clock for things like work and
Are you under a curfew now? Is there a curfew in effect?
It's still 10 o'clock.
Okay.
How would you change it?
Maybe it is 12 overall and 2
Okay.
12 overall. Okay. Anyone else want next? If not, I'll go to someone else and then we'll come back and finish. All right, so we'll move on to Mr. Brim. Then I'll come back for the rest of you.
I just have a couple things. First is we've been finishing up some projects. We finished up the culvert project on Race Lane by topping the driveway with some Durapatch for the winter season. We will be going back in the spring to concrete the driveway once it's all settled and make sure everything's good to go there. We did a culvert project on Southwind Road. Everything went real good to the very end. I had a little snafu there. Had to have a utility repaired, so I'm still waiting to see how that turns out. So I know they was there this evening making the repairs to those utilities. utility locate there, everything was marked, and the lines were right where the markings said they were. It's just, they usually are a lot deeper, and this one was almost right on the surface, the one that I got, so. Just wanted to- Southwind, dead end of Southwind, it was the driveway pipe for Nicole Kern that I did. But in any case, the project is completely finished, we got the ditching done, and like I said, they was down there making the repairs this evening. We had one truck done by Triple D, had some new air dryer put on it, had serviced, brakes adjusted, some lights repaired, the instrument panel was not working at all, so like you'd be sitting still, be sitting at a stoplight, and all of a sudden instead of you was doing 50 mile an hour. So what it was just bad connections on the backs. He just took that out, resoldered things back together. That's all working good. And with that being said, I need a purchase order to Triple D for $1,175.
So moved.
Second.
And 36 cents.
36 cents. Sorry.
Second.
Mr. Up,
Yes.
Mr. Updike, Mr. Brucker,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And today, Steve and I were working on trucks, putting the second snowplow truck together. We'd been using it for doing berming and blacktopping and stuff. We finished all that for the season. Was putting a snowplow on it. We noticed that it was leaking oil pretty bad around the oil cooler slash. It's also oil cooler and the oil filter unit there, and it's actually that is all part of the oil pan too, and it's leaking all around. And we had Daniel come up and look at it. He's going to have to get it in the shop to see what's going on there. And then while he was looking at it, he did notice there was also a small antifreeze leak on the back of the engine. Nothing major, but he's going to try to just see what that is. Hopefully, maybe it's just a loose hose or something. But he couldn't get up underneath of it where it is, so he's got to take some things apart to see the backside of the motor to get to that. So I'm going to take that down on Monday. So hopefully that won't cost as much as what this one did, but I need to get that truck in to get it checked out, especially since they are calling snow for next week. So. And there was some work done on Weaver Road today that I was aware was supposed to happen, but I was told it was supposed to happen the 1st of November, and I guess they just showed up and started digging across the road. They got a permit from the Butler County Engineer's Office. Then the company is Mount Pleasant Blacktop. The gentleman that's building the development there,
Mr. House?
Mr. House, he got a permit from the county engineer's office because he's working even though it's our road, it's county right of way, got to get a permit through the county to work in the right of way. He got the permit and all, however, he did not notify me nor the fire chief that he'd be closing off the road. He stated to the fire chief that he did not close off the road, but I had a very irate resident call me, just all up in arms about them not having any road closed signs, nothing that said that they was going to be closing the road. They did have workers ahead signs, but that's all they had was work ahead and their flagger ahead.
So was the road completely closed, or the flagger?
For about 2 hours, they said they had an excavator because they had the whole road dug up. You couldn't drive through.
Did it impact buses or anything?
Not that I'm aware of. So the school hasn't said anything to me about it. So
Obviously, they didn't contact transportation then.
no. But in any case, they state right now there are plates over the road, which I would have liked to have known that, because if it had snowed and I come up the road and hit one of them plates, that would not been a good deal. So number one, that would have jarred my teeth out, and second thing, I would have drove right in the hole because that plow would have knocked the plate right out of place. In any case, I will be making a phone call to the engineer's office tomorrow because I got this phone call about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Chief went up and spoke with them also about notifying the fire department, but I'll be making a follow-up on that, and that's all I have.
Okay. effect. Anyone else ready?
I'm Shelby McNally. I live off of Black Road on Brenda, and one law change the, like, how long minors should be working on school nights to, I think it's 11 now, and it should be changed to like 10, because that's late for a school night.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Brianna Jones. I live off of Bell Road. I think that employees who are being trained need to have better regulations, because I know from experience that when I'm being trained or friends are being trained, they aren't properly trained, and most times they get thrown in under like a rush or something, and they don't know how to handle it.
Are you talking safety training or the actual task to do the
The
job?
actual task.
Okay.
Anyone else? Ready?
My name's Nick Sheldon. I live off Clear Creek Drive. If I could make one law, it'd be that gas and diesel prices cannot be over $3 a gallon.
Get elected.
Yeah.
My name is Lilia Heiler. I live up on Morgan Ross Road, and if there was a law I could change, I would make legal a drinking age 18, because if you're old enough to serve in the Army, you're old enough to enjoy a drink.
Hi, I'm Ben Hannon. I live over on Marion Estates in Millville. If I could change one thing, I would change I'd ban assault rifles due to the amount of damage they can do in a small amount of time.
Anyone else? I know we got a few left.
My name is Jack Valentine. I live on Silex Drive. And going off what Jake said about the curfew, it's 6 a.m. You can't go before 6 a.m. I would change it to like 4 or 5 a.m. Some of us work on the weekends, like early.
Okay. Okay, I believe we got a couple left.
Hi, I'm Brooklyn Breaker, and I live on New London. And if I could change something, I would have school start later.
Like 1 or 2?
Night school. So that it can stay out of the curfew.
We got, what, 2 left?
2 left, I think.
Then you got Daryl.
You got Daryl?
Yeah, Darryl, what law would you change?
Come
on, it's not that bad. Get it over.
Hi, my name is Casey Clemens. I live off of Millville Avenue on Sarbo Drive, and if I could change one thing, like Brooklyn said, I would definitely make school start later, because starting at 7:20 in the morning is not good for any of us, because we really aren't awake, honestly.
I'm Emily Holsteggy. I live on New London Road, and I think, going off the school thing, that there shouldn't be any homework, because we have 7 hours of school, and then we need like some free time and stuff. So no homework.
Create a law for no homework. The last.
We got.
I'm Emma Meadows. I live off of 27 by the firehouse, and I'm going off what Emily said. I don't think we should have homework because we have sports, and all of us work, and we get home super late. We don't have time for that.
Okay. Well, I thank you all for doing that. I was trying to get your brains thinking different things. But now, I'm not gonna ask you to do more, but I want you to think about all the laws you changed. What are the consequences for the laws that you just changed? How does it affect everyone from young to old? And you gotta look in everyone's shoes. You can't look at one person's perspective. You gotta look all the way around for it to be right. Does it fit in everything? Just some things to think about. So, moving forward, Mr. Galloway, Administrator and Fire Chief.
I'm Chief Galloway. I'd like to work 3 days a week, please.
You do.
Tough crowd tonight. All right, starting the administrator, I don't have a report other than I talked to Jacob Bergerman today. He is actually sick tonight and did not make it tonight, but he's already found a template, a PDF template in the ORC that he can actually transfer our stuff over and update it with having to actually go back and retype everything out from 2007 to the current 2018. So he says, man, that'll make such quick work for me that it's a template that can actually scan, fill, and then add in what is already current now in the 2018 ORC. So he actually doesn't start for us until mid-January, but he's already actually out doing stuff for the township already. So great job by him. And he'll be here. He promises he will be here on the first December meeting. So moving over to the fire department, a couple of things that we're going to address tonight. The first thing that has actually become, and Chief Griffith can also please give some input on this since it affected him. We are starting to have some safety concerns with dispatch and NICOM, and they're growing to the point of, I addressed them yesterday. I had a long meeting with dispatch yesterday, but they're failing to send the right amount of units and the correct amount of units to a fire. And twice now, back earlier this winter on Bell Road, and then just 3 weeks ago, they sent only one engine to an active chimney fire. And what concerns me is that their sequence, they don't follow their sequence, is basically it. We have built, now I'm going to pass these out. AC, you want to pass these out for me? We have specific, you'll see how the township is cut into zones here, and then when you see these two run card sheets, you'll see the green adjust with that, and you'll see like a 140B, and you'll see a 140B. So we've built these run cards in to specifically tell what units we want dispatched, and they're not doing that. And thus, the other night, AC, thank God there was 4 of them on the other night, went to an active chimney fire, and once they came back and said Hamilton County's not available, which we're debating that, they never sent another engine. So luckily, the fire was not as bad as it could, but we're leaving out there with one engine on these runs. And it's becoming a safety concern. And like I said, I was there yesterday and addressed it. You know, the reason is, well, a dispatcher decided to make her own decision instead of going into the computer and the CAD, what it recommends or what our run card recommends. And I go, well, you know, there's people's lives at stake here. And so I'm just bringing it to your attention because I'm addressing it, but it's going to come to some point where we're going to need to do something. And I'm not the only fire chief complaining about it. We're all complaining about it. But it's going to come to a point where, God forbid, somebody doesn't get hurt, where we end up only having one engine going to an active fire or whatever. But, you know, it affected AC. AC called twice, and we had the whole radio conversation. He asked twice for a second engine to respond with them, and they never paged one out. So I'm just letting you know that. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's going to get fixed. I don't think it's going to get fixed. I think it's going to continue to fester, that the concerns are going to get greater, the fire chiefs complain, we have a committee which I sit on, and again, it just kind of, an excuse comes up and it goes out one ear and out in the other. So
what can we do to help?
Well, I think from a standpoint of the trustees association, you can probably get involved by either writing a letter or contacting, we can get you in contact with some of the upper echelon there that run that and say, our fire chiefs are now have some, are starting to get really safety concerns and issues with the radio system and the dispatch. And I think because Ross complains about it and we complain about Oxford, we all complain about it, to the point of, I think it would be a driving factor if the Township Association in general, with more clout, would come up with something you address in your next meeting, or have me come up and, say what I'm saying there. Sure, and
Is that the right level, or
yeah, that's the right level. And Matt was in my office yesterday, and he's well aware of the issues, and called me again today and said, hey, after you had the meeting, I helped Miranda Shepard, the dispatch manager, look into it, and yeah, there was some errors on our part. Well, an error on your part is great, but on our part, we've got less firefighters going inside of a structure fire because they failed to send another engine, or the proper engines that are supposed to be sent.
Right, you're not only exposing the residents to danger, you're exposing firefighters because they don't have enough manpower.
Exactly, and you can see in the run card, we have it clearly built out. In our dispatch protocol for a structure fire, the first we get 4 engines and 4 tankers. So they go down they're supposed to go down that system in the first 4 engines that are there. Now, if there's one out of service, they jump down to the 5th engine or whatever. But those are all supposed to come, and it's just not happening anymore. And it's concerning. It's getting to the point where it's concerning. There's other dispatcher centers out there, but if we go ask them, if we discuss that with them, they're going to come back and say, well, we'll give you a price to do it. They're going to charge us. Right now, it's free from the sheriff's office. But, at some point, we may need to say, okay, we're going to look and get a price or a quote from Westchester or City of Fairfield or somebody else that already runs one. So I'm just kind of tonight letting you know that it's continuing to get worse and worse, and you hear it on the radio, and it's affecting Morgan. It's affecting everybody, but it's affected us twice this year, and we'll get a gunshot or something like that, and they don't even tell us about it, and we end up walking in and, hey, guy's got a gun near him, or they forgot to tell us to stage. We've had that happen. So it's getting to the point now where I think that the trustee association probably should address that with Matt Franke in the sheriff's office, just to say that as fire chiefs in our townships have a growing concern. So,
Chief, just a quick question on on your each run card here. Does it say how many engines you want, or
so there's
you don't want all these?
No. So there's another data sheet that we work with NINECOM to say, on a structure fire, how many you want of everything. On a car fire, how many you want of everything. That's all plugged in there of how much we pick. And then the computer says, okay, on a car accident, you want 2 medic trucks, 1 engine, and 1 rescue, whatever. Then it goes to that and pulls the first ones that are on there. And if they're busy, then they go. And the funny thing is, and not funny, but the issue with the chimney fire the other night is they, on the radio, paged engine 57, which is Harrison. They come back on and tell Chief Griffith that Hamilton County is not available to respond. And so I got the printout here, and this is the other part of this. I got the printout here from the call. And the next engine down you'll see is engine 28, Crosby. So I go to this when they print this out, and it says engine 56 out of service. Crosby Township's also out of service. So, silly me, since I have a guy that works for Crosby, I asked him, what did you have the other night? What do you mean? Well, you're not available. He goes, no, I checked with the chief. We were in the station. We were completely available and never got the page. But they're saying that they're out of service. So then the next one down would be Ross. And they never paged Ross. So it's just, again, it's a problem. And I think that the association in general should address it at the next meeting and, ask Matt to look into it from an overall standpoint. So, yep.